All right. So strangely, it's been a very quiet week in terms of UAS and drone news. I actually struggled this week to find enough to actually cover, but we do have some interesting developments from different sources. This first one comes from SUAS News. Uh, this is the Airbus Zephyr. It's their high altitude UAS, launched on the 28th for a high altitude flight. It made it to about 5,200 feet, and it encountered some unstable atmospheric conditions that resulted in an uncommanded roll to the right and a track change of about 180 degrees before recovery. The atmospheric conditions became even more unstable as it passed about 8,700 feet and ended up breaking up. And
Aw.
it's in pieces. So failure
Aw.
points are where they're noted on the image there. And so, yeah, it says once the Zephyr entered an area of unstable atmospheric conditions that exceeded the aircraft's ability to remain in the flight envelope, an in-flight breakup occurred. I did see another article somewhere that showed the pieces laying in the middle of a field, so um,
It's a pretty
it's
fancy way of saying
gone.
it broke.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the world of drones,
Yeah.
Airbus.
Or if you're gonna create moment arms that are that long, you think you
Uh-huh.
might wanna make it a little stronger.
Yeah.
Really
Um,
flimsy looking.
it is. So
Airbus
um,
Airbus is an interesting company in that they are getting into UTM as well. So they're
mhm.
probably going to be one of the companies that we'll see as a what is it RS I think is the nested abbreviation
Mhm.
RUS. They've been
Uh,
they got a waiver to fly BVLOS in the United States, so got that about a year ago. So they're pretty active, and it's interesting how they pop up in
from
different.
time to
And it's
time, yeah.
yeah, it's like Airbus, really? Don't they make airliners?
Right. Let's see.
Well,
We do have. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, isn't Boeing also doing stuff with UAS? They
Yes,
also make airliners.
yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are, and Boeing, of course, has a huge military
Yeah.
component, and also is yes, they have uh, a significant drone group, and they are part of the DAC and very helpful to us as a group. They've reached out to us and given us advice on how to best navigate the FAA. So we're very
Hmm.
grateful to the Boeing folks.
Yep. Let's see. This comes from the ever so present New York Post. Um,
It's got to be
you're
true if it's in the post,
right.
like the internet.
So drone flies human kidney 10 miles across the Las Vegas desert. So this happened on September 17th. It was one of two successful test drone runs carrying a human organ and tissue in Nevada that day. This was put on by Mission Go, uh, part of the Nevada donor network. It took the first drone transported research corneas 1.8 miles in 5 minutes from the Southern Hills Hospital to the St. Rose Dominican Hospital. The second flight delivered a research kidney 10.3 miles in about 25 minutes from an airport location outside of a small town in the Las Vegas desert. So just more evidence of stuff that we've talked about before, where stuff like this, time sensitive deliveries, especially in the case of obviously donor kidney or donor organs, would be a decently effective use of drone technology. However, there's always that uncertainty of what happens if, where you don't
Yeah,
have that human part of intervention.
Yeah, I've been. They must be pretty far along in terms of testing to go in. This is effectively production,
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's a what if this thing were to crash or to break up in the atmosphere. So I imagine these are pretty
A la
stable.
Airbus.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So these must be stable and pretty proven devices and teams.
Mm-hmm.
Because boy, I cannot imagine you're sitting there as the recipient. Oh yeah, we're gonna bring this to you by a drone. That's a little nerve wracking, but like I say, it must be pretty rugged and proven if they're putting this into production. So that is great news.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of interesting. This is from The Guardian.
The Post of Europe.
Right. So this is Drone Awards 2020, the world seen from above. So these are international awards dedicated to aerial photography. And here's a selection of the shots that'll be shown in Italy from the 24th October to the 29th of November. Let me see if I can paste some of these in. Some of these are pretty cool.
Some of them are definitely flights over people.
Yeah, for sure. This one's in Hong Kong, the second image. Copy. This was a protest in Hong Kong. This was a beach in Brazil.
Looks like there's one in Chernobyl further down.
Yeah, it's a
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess they didn't dive it though.
Yeah, we can all be Tommy, right?
That'd be
Yeah,
nice
that's
if they
pretty
got
cool.
the picture of diving
Well,
it.
a lot of these are nice. A couple of them could have been taken without drones.
Yes, definitely. I don't disagree with you there, but some of these are definitely super cool. There's more than what I've pasted in there. If you haven't gotten into the article, it's definitely worth a check out. It's pretty cool. Let's see, what else do I have? We talked about this a couple of meetings ago. It's the SkyGrid app, and they have launched it. I have not checked it out. It's available. Oh, that's because I don't have an iPad, so it probably wouldn't work on my iPhone. But SkyGrid is a Boeing and Spark Cognition company. They have launched a new app for drone operators and enterprises to automate every phase of flight in one unified solution. So basically, it gives you an outlet to mission plan, allowing drone operators to autonomously surveil a defined area, detect objects in real time. It also allows you to apply for your waivers, not your waivers, but your LANC authorization, airspace authorizations. There you go. And it does autonomous flight execution. Pretty interesting little app that they've got going on here. It'd be interesting to be able to check out. Let's see. This one's gotten some press. This was about the only thing that popped up over the last couple of days. And they just announced the new Ring flying drone camera for inside your house. And this has gotten some interesting comments, and it's gotten some pretty poor comments, and I think even some others are saying absolutely not. But basically the gist of it is that it docks on its little thing, and it will, through intervals throughout the day, it will take flight in your home and fly around your house and give you a camera view on your phone or your computer of what's going on in your home. It flies for 5 minutes and takes an hour to recharge. And but some people are saying, the potential for hacking, the potential for Ring taking your data, a la Alexa, and listening in on you, and
you don't already give all that data away.
Right. So definitely an interesting.
Just think if you're a parent of a teenager and you're leaving for a weekend. I mean, this would be great. You could kick up that frequency so it would fly a couple times.
If that happens. I could set up so many traps for it.
How
The
many
cool
people are
thing
going to
with-
find out that their dog decides that it's a great toy or a cat or
right?
something?
Yeah, or the cat, right?
Another
Or just
chewy toy.
Yeah,
or
for
open
sure.
the door.
So the cool thing
Maybe
with this
gust of
though
wind.
is it you teach it where to fly. So you basically tour it around your house, it follows you, and then from that point on it sets its waypoints. There is no manual control over it, so you basically do the teaching of where you want it to go, where you want it to linger, um, that kind of thing, and then it will follow that path going forward. It does have kind of object avoidance in so much as that if it runs into something, it'll just automatically return to its base and recharge. Pretty cool that it's accurate enough just to land itself in its own little recharging dock. But pretty interesting the where Ring's going with this and where the Roomba took it. Right.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty cool.
Yeah,
That'll-
it's definitely interesting for sure. It's gonna retail for $250 in 2021. So
Think that's a LiDAR sensor on the top there?
I don't know. Let me.
I mean,
It would have to have
It might
something.
be. Yeah, it definitely is something. I don't know if that spins or. That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting.
Maybe
Well-
click sonar just to
Oh, yeah, sonar.
it could be completely annoying. Click, 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 click,
Oh,
click, click.
geez, yeah, for sure. Right?
Well, you already have the fan noise. It's not going to do much more.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. There was
So,
one other. Go ahead.
what if it crashes?
So I would assume if it crashes, it sends it does talk about that. It says if it runs into an object, it will return to its base and it will send an alert to your phone or device.
But
So I would
does
imagine
have
if it,
turtle mode?
No,
well, I
'cause
would imagine that if it does crash and can't return to its base, it would send an alert as well.
Call for help.
Turtle mode.
Yeah, turtle mode, right? So definitely, if you're getting one of these, and you have animals, get the warranty because I want to know how long that lasted for you. That would be pretty. I'd have a laugh about that,
Might just
Sorry
get it
about
for
your
the fun of
tumor.
it.
right?
My dog's afraid of my tiny whoop, so I think she'd
Oh,
be
really?
afraid of this.
Let's see. We've got this comes from Drone Life. We got a group of industry stakeholders, including a VUC, the CTA or the Consumer Technology Association, and the U.S. Chamber Technology Engagement Center have all signed a letter asking the Department of Transportation to hold fast to the December 2020 release of the remote ID. So it's a. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
this one is really curious to me because these folks are well wired with the FAA and
Mhm.
the CEO of AUVSI. I mean, he's very serious and lots of good connections. And you wonder what was the motivation? Why did they do this? We've heard Jay Merkel twice, and just last
And
week
Steve
we've heard
Dickinson, yeah.
Administrator Dixon. So what are they? What
Yeah,
are
they'd
they
have to
doing?
have some reason to think the FAA has pressure to not release it in December.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
we've
sure.
got they've got the pressure of the election. They've got the Secretary of Transportation pushing for it. They've got DOD, DHS pressing. So why did they send this? And so there's got to be a reason because these guys are, as I say, well connected.
So I
Can
have
we
the
ask 'em?
article from a different a similar article from a different publisher, and they're saying that let's see, proceed without a delay and support a final rule that sets performance requirements rather than specifying particular solutions for remote ID compliance.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm wondering
which
if
was,
there's
which was better than their original NPRM response to the question of can we ask them? Yeah, I've got a contact at AUVSA. He'll probably say we're not at liberty to
discuss that.
But it doesn't hurt to at least ask.
Exactly. They'll
Of
ask.
course. Yep. Let's see. So we talked about this as well a couple meetings ago. It's I think this is the last article I have. This is the Air Force's Skyborg. So, Skynet, Skyborg. So this is their full-size fighter type drone that they're calling it the Loyal Wingman type of unmanned aircraft. So they have awarded contracts for the prototyping, experimentation, and autonomy development portion of the project, which is expected to continue through 2026. So we've got AeroVironment out of Simi Valley. We've got Autodyne. We've got BAE Systems, Blue Force Technologies, Fregata Systems, Lockheed Martin, Next Gen Aeronautics, Sierra Technical Services, and Wichita State Universities. And these companies are going to be joining Boeing, Northrop, General Atomics, and Kratos Unmanned Aerial Systems, which we talked about them the last time. Those were the 4 companies that had been green lighted for the contract. So this will
When do
be.
these come out commercially?
What's that?
When do these come out commercially?
Well, these will be for the Air Force, so they won't come out commercially. They'll probably come out DoD, but they're expected. It says the
2030?
prototyping and experimentation is through 2026. And does it say 2030?
It what in a paragraph
Yeah.
I saw 2030 somewhere in there. It says,
Yeah. High priority assigned to the Skyborg
Yeah.
program was confirmed in late 2019 when it was earmarked as one of the first 3 so-called Vanguard programs under the Air Force Science and Technology 2030.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now in the article.
Yep.
So, like, when can I get my hands on it, though?
Join the Air
Well,
Force, you'll see.
Join the Air
Yeah, you-
Force, and
yeah,
you
gotta
probably have
enlist.
one flying wingman for you. So that's how you get a hold of one. But definitely pretty interesting. I believe there was an article a couple weeks ago that we covered where they were testing a similar type of loyal wingman style aircraft that had beaten actual pilots in simulated dogfights. So just pretty interesting as well. So, but yeah, that's all I have. Like I said, it was a really slow news week this week.
I guess I've got one other thing we could mention. It's not
Absolutely.
exciting or all that interesting, but didn't the FAA add another 133 sites to the Lance system? So if you're flying in
Nice.
controlled airspace, there's a bunch more airports near you that if they were not in the system before, they are now. So
Yeah, that was good to see. That's that's a big positive. So that's got to be up over in the magnitude of 800 then, I think. High 7s to 800 airports.
Let's see. We're at
Yeah.
537 air traffic facilities and 726 airports.
for all those
Okay.
people who are trying to follow the rules, that's a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a list of all the Lance facilities.
Ah, excellent. Thank you.
It's long. It's very
I know
long.
everything near me, or pretty much everything in Minnesota, has been covered for a while, so it hasn't been a big deal for me. I just have to remember to check it every time. That's the
Yeah,
hardest
for
part.
sure.
See, here's another benefit of upstate New York. I'm in 100 mile or 50 mile radius of uncontrolled airspace.
Nice.
Actually, I sent a copy of airspace to. Oh, here we go. This is my airspace.
And the other thing, especially this year with all the presidential travel, there's a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
TFRs going on.
Yeah.
I was about to fly, then I saw the TFR.
Good for you for checking.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Dan makes a good point with all the. There'll be a lot of TFRs. So if you're in controlled
Yeah, and
airspace, take a look.
when the VIP is in your area, it's what, 50 mile radius of the airport?
I believe it's
Yeah.
50-mile radius of his location or
huge.
any.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Bro, that's lame.
So. Hey, I mean, you gotta think about it though. If you're the Secret Service and you're going from one location to another, how many different alternate paths do you have lined up within that area? So you can cover a lot of area pretty quickly, and they have to have all that clear. So
Yeah, you wouldn't want a
just
tiny whip flying
outside.
in your backyard too close.
no, it definitely wouldn't. No, it could crash and mess your hair up.
Yeah, I guess
So-
most of Minnesota is still covered by the TFRs this afternoon or
Holy
this
crap.
evening.
Technically, I can't fly over my house.
Yeah,
Is
that
it in a
gets annoying.
0?
No, it's in 400.
So you
Oh,
could
you just
fly
need
there as long as you
authorization.
apply for Lance. Yeah. So
That's stupid as hell. And then
Yeah.
the local park that I fly is just outside of it.
Yeah.
So it's always
Same exact
good.
thing.
Okay.
It's always good if you're not using it to get something like air maps or my personal
Hawk.
favorite is Kitty Hawk. And utilize that. It's always
you're-
good.
You're finding the turnarounds pretty quick, Josh?
I had the one time I had to apply. Yeah, it went fairly quick. It was just
Less than
a
a
minute
minute.
or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every time I've
Yeah.
used it, it's usually seconds.
That's pretty
I
good.
do keep this on my hotbar, which allows me to check before I go out. I just posted a copy of the whole Phoenix metro area up there, but this link below will take you directly to the maps, and you can use that. It's got a search function and everything. If you're not using it, definitely a good thing to have in your favorites there.
Is there
Okay,
any
so-
talk about adding like DoD airfields?
Thought
I
those were already
believe
on there.
they are already on there.
I think it's just blacked out basically. I think it's all 0 for most military.
Like if you go to San Diego,
So I have
Because
a
I
quick
mean,
question.
I live in Class D airspace over Air National Guard. And I've got the waivers to fly, but
Right.
it'd just be nice to have Lance too.
It depends. I know if I say look up at Grand
Oh,
Forks
gotcha.
Air Force Base, there's a whole bunch of zeros all in that area where that Air Force.
I think
base is.
he's actually questioning if Lance is available at DoD facilities. That is
Well,
something
the
I-
Class D airspace over a DoD facility. So
Right.
I live near Selfridge Air National Guard Base, which is outside of Detroit, and the Class D space, covers a pretty large area of the metro area around me. So I've got waivers, but every time I call the tower, as I'm required to do,
right.
they like bitching up a storm at me for wasting their time. And
That's fucked.
you talk to the FAA and they say you have to call them. All you have to do is call them. That's all you have to do. If they hang up the phone on you, you've already met your requirement.
Yeah, I just pulled it up, and so if you use Kitty Hawk, you can't apply for authorization through in that area.
Nope.
It shows grids of 100,
It
200,
does.
300,
It
400.
does,
may not
but
be
it's
a
not-
approved facility.
It's not in Lance yet.
Right.
Okay.
But
There's a flying club
I-
within that airspace.
Oh yeah.
Fraser Flying Club.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do I go
Actually, there's a
by
couple.
the- Do I go by the actual circular area? or
Yes,
do I
the
go by
shaded
squares?
circle, not the squares.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the only reason they do the squares is so that they can denote that there's a 400-foot radius in there.
Right.
You do go by the circle though, so if you are on the outside of the circle, you will not need to apply, and in fact, Kitty Hawk will not require you to apply if you are outside of that circle. Correct, Dan? Because you've run
Yep.
into that before,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, I live right on the edge, and I'm flying those the far corners of boxes that are shaded on the other half all the time, and it does not require you to. And I recently heard Kevin Morris clarify that same thing on an FAA presentation. That it's the shaded areas, it's the circle that matters, not the square.
Yeah. And the squares on here are in mile quadrants, and I do know that as part of the FAA facility maps, Dave, you guys did recommend shrinking those down
Mhm.
even more so, right? To be more accurate?
Correct. To split them so that 1 mile square, they're approximately 1 mile. They're degrees.
Yeah.
Would get split to 4 quadrants. So one goes to 4 blocks, and we will hopefully hear back a response on October
This time around.
22.
Yeah.
What
Yeah, that's right.
reaction from the FAA was.
So, what is Kitty Hawk for?
So Kitty Hawk has multiple uses, but one of the best uses for people who do FPV would be to apply for Lance authorization, so that if you are flying and you're in one of these grids, if you're flying in one of these gridded areas where there's a 400 foot, 300 foot, 200 foot, whatnot ceiling, that you could apply for authorization to fly there. If you do not apply for authorization, technically you are in violation of that airspace, because they want to know you're there. So Kitty Hawk allows you to put forth an application essentially for authorization. Once you type in your information that it's requesting, it literally only takes 60 seconds for them to come back and give you a decision, basically a fly or no fly. I've the one and only time that's how much it took. Dan, you probably have more experience with it than I do.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a minute. I don't know if it's just texting being slow or what, but I think another small change I noticed was they will reject your request if it overlaps into evening time. You
Yes.
can't fly in controlled airspace at night anymore recreationally.
What
Well, I think it
constitutes
just
as
won't let
night?
you do Lance at night. I think if you apply through
Yeah.
the drone zone, you can.
Okay.
But I haven't tried that.
I was
So-
flying at dusk once and it refused me, and so instead of being the default 30 minutes, I just said, "Oh, I'm only flying for 10 more minutes," and said, "Oh, okay, that's fine." I mean, I only had
That's
one battery
interesting.
left, so
I wonder if it's assuming you're doing a 107 flight and it's just, going to the lowest common denominator.
No,
no.
you specify.
You tell it you're
Well, I'm wondering
recreational,
if
but
that's
I
interesting.
believe they've said that recreational can't fly in controlled airspace after dark, or you won't get Lance approval anymore.
Ah, okay. I want to find that.
I don't know if that's
Now
something
you've
I
piqued
heard
my
Kevin
interest.
Morris tell us in that presentation I attended or not, but I definitely heard that somewhere.
Huh.
Mm.
We'll have to find some of that information there.
We can always ask.
Yeah, we can always ask. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. So, Dave, you got anything for us?
No, it's been pretty quiet as well. We're wrapping
Yeah.
up on getting ready for October 22, and I'll be presenting, as I mentioned last week or week before last.
Yeah, just a
Yep.
reminder to everybody that Dave will be at the DAC, the Drone Advisory Committee meeting, right?
Virtually.
Presenting,
be-
and we
I'll-
can all
and we'll-
watch, hopefully.
Yep, it'll be live streamed, and I'll be one of 4 or 5 presenters. I've got a 10-minute slot on safety culture, and so this is the presentation of how can we utilize the ingrained culture of safety from manned aviation in drones. And so we've done, I think, a good job both in small and small commercial. So Part 107 for small companies as well as recreational, to emphasize that one size does not fit all, and the regulations should be proportionate to the risk. Meaning, don't
Cool.
give recreational folks a lot of paperwork and reporting and structure.
Don't make us write down every single piece of maintenance we do on our tiny whoops every time we go flying.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, as we look back to the NPRMs that for BVLOS and Flight Over People, that's where they dropped those in, and then they were reiterated in the remote ID NPRM. So that's exactly what we were trying to respond to.
And that meeting is still a few weeks away, but as it gets closer, we'll definitely be trying to publicize it quite a bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
All right. Dan, you got anything for us?
Nope, that was all I had.
Okay.
Curious
Anybody
if anybody else
have
has
anything?
questions. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. questions, comments, ideas?
Do any of you know of any good spots in Houston?
In Houston? No, I don't.
Damn.
No, I'm in lovely Phoenix, Arizona. So in Texas, I've not been there in a long time.
There's got to be some people down there. I know you said you were having trouble finding somebody, but there's got to be a group.
Yeah.
There's gotta be. Let's see if we can help
So
them real quick.
the Facebook racing group
Uh-huh.
declined me because I don't fly racing drones.
Okay.
So,
That's
wrong.
kind of silly,
yeah,
Just tell them you do.
right?
You fly racing
yeah.
drones up and down trees and, well, if there's
Yeah.
much to that, up and down fields and open spaces and bandos.
Yeah, honestly, what I would do is just start reaching out to, you could reach out to folks on Facebook. You know, one of the easiest things to do is say, hey, anybody fly in the Houston area, and drop it in the Rotor Riot channel or TBS or anything like that.
You get a ton of
And
people.
you'll get a ton of people that say, yeah, I do, you know, go here or come fly with us or whatever the case may be. Just advertise that you're looking for some people to fly with, and they'll find you, I promise you.
Right.
So just put yourself out there for a minute, and I bet you'll find some like-minded folks that want to freestyle or whatever you're doing. Because yeah, I mean, flying with people is always the best route for sure.
Yeah.
And did you say you searched Instagram as well? I don't know if Instagram has a decent search for that sort of thing, but
Yes, I did.
there's a lot of people that post stuff there. I guess I'm just really lucky, even though I live in a city of like 11,000, there's 3 of us that fly here and a couple more in the neighboring cities.
Right. Yeah. No. I don't know why, but either nobody's like soliciting that they fly here, or everything is super old.
They're all being very secretive. They don't want anyone to know about their cool spots.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though those of us here really don't get together and fly, we'll post videos and like, oh, that's a cool spot, I gotta go try that. And then you'll see the other guy have a video from that spot a week later, and a lot of back and forth like that.
Are there must be a couple of AMA clubs in the Houston area? And this, to me, would be a long shot, but because being an AMA club member and officer, our club is very accepting and very inclusive, and so we, if people come in and they want to fly drones, we're like, yes, join the club. Or we want to get young people excited about the hobby. That's of course not a universal sentiment. However, you could take a look at the couple of the clubs and just see what the rules are. And the first giveaway would be if they're strictly fixed wing and they don't allow RC helicopters, then don't even bother. But if it's an avid RC helicopter club, high probability that those guys are also into drones.
Yeah.
You might want to check with John Eska. I've interacted with him multiple times. I'm just looking at the Battleground FPV drone racing group on Facebook. Is that the one that you were talking about?
No.
Okay, so this one's Battleground FPV. It's a South Houston drone racing group. It's got 406 members. And John Eska is one of the admins there.
He's definitely active on Facebook.
He is. And so reach out to him, see if maybe he can hook you up with some people, some like-minded folk.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right. Anybody else got anything we can help them with?
Well, I know this is even further out than the DAC meeting, but so for Drone Safety and Awareness Week, they're aiming.
That's
I think
November,
they set
right?
it for 16 to 20 November. So that's when they're doing that.
Okay.
It'll be
16, 20
cold
November.
around here.
Well, we did a safety video last time for that. I think now that you
Rotor
brought it
Riot
to my
did as
attention,
well.
Rotor
Yeah.
Riot did a lot of good stuff for that.
they did.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do virtual stuff and things people can do at home, but that's when those dates are, if you guys want those.
Absolutely.
I assume there's a link over to an FAA site. Do you have that?
No, because I got the dates during the symposium, I don't think it's been officially released yet.
Let me see.
Okay.
So
Is it
I
not the
do
same
have it.
time of year as it was last year?
It's the same
Oh,
time
here we
of
go.
year. It's just a week later.
Okay.
Here we go. I
Why?
think I got it.
Like, I mean, why would they change the dates when people are just
November
starting?
16th through the 22nd, 2020.
Oh, 22nd. Okay. Well, I got 20th, but oh well, I'll fix it.
Yeah, definitely.
don't
If people
worry.
have ideas that how we can take advantage of this or help out there, that would be great.
Absolutely. All right. Well,
Just
we'll
make
definitely
sure
have
you don't hurt anybody during that week.
Yes.
Don't crash.
That's
Don't
funny.
crash. Be safe. No
Don't
injuries.
get in the news.
That's right. Low profile that week.
Oh, yeah,
Or drones, or high profile on Drones for Good.
Yes, definitely. Drones for good.
Yeah. Speaking of, don't do anything silly and get high profile. Kevin Morris also was talking about that drone a few weeks back that was flying over the Minnesota Twins game, and he said that they know who the guy is, and he's going to wish that he didn't do it. It's about all he said.
Oh, jeez. Oh my goodness.
So even
it
without
looks-
remote ID, they were able to find him.
Wait, so we
That's
don't need remote ID?
Exactly. That's that's where I was gonna go.
Okay, so I have one last question. Do all
Sure.
of you have long-range modules on your controllers?
I do. I have a Crossfire. I know Dan's got the Tango 2, right?
I recently switched to the Tango 2 with Crossfire. Yep.
Cool.
And we all only fly within line of sight.
Right, yeah, of course.
Of our visual observer.
That's right. Under 400 feet altitude. AGL.
Yes.
Oh,
So here's what I'll tell you though is I would say Crossfire is not absolutely necessary. I flew for probably the first 3 years with just my Tyrannus. So not absolutely necessary, but definitely nice to have. And the link is definitely stronger and more robust.
right.
So I can recommend it from that perspective, but not absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I started off my first almost 3 years with a Turnigy Evolution FlySky radio that didn't
Yeah.
have
Wow.
great range, but it was okay. It was fine. I wanted more range because I spend about 90% of my flight sitting in my car because either it's too cold, too hot, or too many
same.
mosquitoes to fly unprotected outside. And sitting in your car with your radio down in your lap, it's got to go through the engine and the sides of the car, and that really kills the
Right.
signal range. So having something like Crossfire gives much better range through an environment like that.
And I come from RC airplanes, and so I use Spectrum for years, and it's not highly sought after in the drone world, but
Team
it's
failsafe.
I know, team failsafe, but it's it's effective if you're just flying freestyle and you're close at hand. I also use the DJI system with their transmitter, and that's the video is amazing and the range is also amazing.
Yeah, the range of the DJI radio is pretty darn good.
Yeah, it is.
Not up to Crossfire distance, but farther than a normal 2.4 gigahertz radio.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Finally got to
so then
try
a lot of you are
someone's
using
DJI.
Yeah. Did you like it?
HD.
Yes. And DJI is HD.
Yeah.
What did you say, Alex? You finally got to try someone's?
Yeah, I finally got to try someone's DJI out. It was nice.
It is
Yes.
nice.
It wasn't as good as I was expecting, but it was nice.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to try it. because I really like it a lot.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
If you're
So
not
I
planning on
got-
buying it, don't try it just in case.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got to try it and then didn't get to buy it. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that
I have-
expression of all your analog drones will sit and collect dust. Yeah, that's accurate.
I have 2 more questions.
Yes.
How early on into the hobby did y'all switch out your antennas
What type of antennas are you talking about?
for
For-
your VTX and your FPV goggles?
And what do you mean by switch out? I'm not following the question.
I've been flying for almost a year, and I'm still using the default dipole antennas that came with my
Oh,
headset.
no.
Okay,
Swap those out. Yeah,
Yeah,
swap those
those
out
are
as
something you
quickly
do
as you
right
can.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even mess with the rubber duckies, and in fact, they're all sitting in a drawer, waiting to be cut down for tiny whoops and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
swap to at least a circular polarized, if not a patch antenna, and a circular polarized if you've got a diversity set up on your goggles.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. My answer to that one would be 0 as well. There
Yeah.
was instant swap those out. Another plug for taking the ham radio class and getting your technician license. They've both the technician and general have good segments on antenna technology.
Yep.
Cool.
And XJet, Bruce Simpson has a lot of good videos on his YouTube channel about antennas, antenna theory, how it all works. Definitely worth checking that out just to really understand how like a patch antenna or a helical antenna you can make yourself works, and how to keep your drone within the range of the antenna. And no, you won't have the crazy surprises a lot of new pilots have, where they happen to go around a tree or something and wonder why did my signal drop out? Well, it's because you were behind yourself and behind a tree, and trees
Right.
absorb signals and all that cool stuff.
Yeah, and the other guy that's interesting to watch if you want to see how they're made and why they're made that way would be Alex Grieve.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of his videos.
Yeah, so those are all good people to watch, and definitely look at getting those swapped out for something a little nicer for you. You'll appreciate the signal quality a lot better, and you'll appreciate the ability to go in different directions without losing signal, because those dipoles are very directional. So.
Do you have RSSI on your OSD? Speaking completely in abbreviations.
Yes, but on my headset it always reads low, and then on my controller it reads at 99 100% of the time until I bring my drone like right next to my radio. My last question was, how many of you just started straight off with flying 5-inch or stuff like that?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't.
I did, yeah. But I came from RC Hillies and fixed wing, and so I went right to 5-inch, and it was no issue.
I started with 5-inch almost 4 years ago, but I spent a couple of months in the flight simulator first.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I bought a little Hubsan, tiny little, $30 drone off Amazon, and flew that around the house for probably 2 or 3 months line of sight before I built my first quad.
So
Yeah.
the full story for me is a friend kept bugging me for years to do it. I eventually saw a cool YouTube video and was like, oh, that's what he's talking about. I have to try this. He happened to have a spare old terrible radio that would hook up with a trainer port cable to a laptop. So he gave that to me and said, here, try it. And that was about the time when DRL Simulator came out and it was free. So I popped into that and we flew together, and I was terrible. But after a month or so, I got the hang of it, and then actually bought a 5-inch and got a real radio, and yeah, started flying.
Speaking of which, simulators, has anybody played Liftoff lately with the new Unity change?
I installed the update, played it for 5 minutes just to see that it worked, and then had to get back to real work.
Any difference in the look of it or the feel of it?
I believe there is, but I didn't play with it enough to really tell.
I mean, I've got it. I can just download the update, but
I wish I had bought Liftoff because I bought Velocidrone.
They're both really good.
Better.
Well, it is better, but there's not as much options, right? Like I want to learn to fly 3D, and you can't do that in Velocidrone.
Oh, Liftoff
you
does
can't
have
do
good
that in
3D.
Liftoff. Yeah.
Another one just to check out because it's basically free. It's like $2 on Steam, but free on GitHub, is the Curry Kitten FPV simulator. He's recently added the ability to fly a plane as well. So if you're ever just curious what it's like to try to fly a plane, and it's not very polished, but it's a fun little free simulator. You can go push around beach balls and chase each other and chase cars. And
That's
dive
cool.
buildings, and
That's
it's just
very
super
cool.
simple and just fun.
Yeah, to me, simulators are a great thing because they really help someone who's new to the hobby gain that muscle memory before you go out and risk your
Mhm.
device, your aircraft.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
use them
I
to
don't-
learn new tricks and stuff.
Yep.
I don't know what's wrong with me, but I didn't buy a simulator until it was a rainy day and I couldn't fly outside.
Hey,
There's
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
nothing wrong at all.
That's the only reason I bought a simulator.
I didn't get a simulator till I'd already been flying for probably 6 or 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Anywho, if there's no more questions, then
And those questions were good. We appreciate
Absolutely.
it. And we're
Exactly what we're here
obviously-
for.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for answering.
you got it. All right. Well, then I will give you back the rest of your evening. Thank you all for coming this evening, and hopefully next week we can we'll see a little bit of an increase here. So we'll definitely get the word out a little earlier, and part of that's on me, and we will get that done. But we will see you guys not next week, but the week
Yep,
after that.
Hopefully back in 2 weeks. Oh,
Yes,
now
sir.
Bruce is typing something. Why isn't he
Uh-oh.
here in our meeting? Does he
It's
see
like
that I
somebody
posted his?
one of my videos.
Yeah. His ears started ringing. He could tell someone was talking about him.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, time zone changed. Is that time
Oh,
zone math didn't work?
Oh,
Are
hi
we at a
guys.
time
Sorry I
zone
missed
change
the
yet?
meeting. Had meetings of my own in respect to all the crap the CAA is
Oh,
dishing out down
geez.
here in New Zealand.
yeah, he's a great YouTuber.
Yeah, he is. He was definitely one of my first influencers. That I spent a lot of time watching his videos when I was first starting.
I think so. I started 5 inches this year,
Uh-huh.
and then late last year I started flying a tiny whoop before I just absolutely thrashed it. And then like for 5 or 6 years, before that I was watching like Joshua Bardwell and stuff like that, and that's
Wow.
what got me into the hobby was like watching all the technical stuff.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's a good approach.
Yep.
Yeah, Joshua is not only very adept, but he's a lovely individual, really good person.
Yep. Sure is. All right, guys. Well, y'all have a great night, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. As always, in the meantime, if you've got anything you need, want to chat, want to talk, hit us up. We're here. We're available. All right.
Night,
Thank
everyone.
you. Have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.